Boys. Cali King. In the morning.
Eric V. Nick V.
Baka Boyz show. It is 31 after the hour. We have a special guest in the studio. Let's welcome him the way we do it. Baka Boyz like this. Come on.
Well, it's the Baka, baby. It's the Baka Boyz in the morning. In the morning, it's the Baka Boyz, and we got a special guest for you. His name is Vincent Vargas.
What's up, man?
What's up?
When's the last time you had some grown-ass man singing songs to you, bro?
Bro, I'm going to tell you right now, I haven't heard that in years, bro, because I moved out of L.A. at a young age. And so right now when I just heard that, I'm like, oh, my God.
It just flashed you back,
Bro,
right?
that's it.
How old did you feel right now?
I felt 15 again, bro.
Man, I'm telling you. It's crazy. Like, people hear that song, they're like, they just remember it after all these years.
Yeah,
and
bro,
stuff.
it trips me out.
Yeah, so it's good stuff, man.
Yeah, that's real good.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Of course.
San Fernando Valley, huh?
That's it, San Fernando Valley.
That's what's up, man. So when did you leave Los Angeles, though?
Man, I left around 19. I was playing college baseball at Glendale Community College with Fernando Valenzuela Jr. was on my team. What's up, bro? That was the dopest thing for me. Yeah, man. His father would come to the games and everything, man. So we went to, we went to the championship game and everything, and we lost. We got second place, but it was a beautiful season for me. I ended up going up north to play some ball in the summer up in Chico State, and then eventually I got a full ride to an NAIA college in Kentucky.
Damn.
And since then, man, I haven't really been back. The only thing that got me back was started acting.
Right.
And so, which is cool because I kind of reconnected with my family, got real close with them again, my mom, my dad, and everybody. But yeah, man, I left San Fernando Valley at 19 and never really looked back.
What position did you play in baseball?
I was a pitcher. When at Glendale Community College, I was a pitcher. When I went up to Kentucky, I was outfield and pitcher.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, man.
What's your social media, man?
Vincent.rocco.vargas is my Instagram, and it's probably Vincent Rocco Vargas and everything else.
Now, tell me about the Rocco. Where does Rocco come from?
Man, so like I said, I got my start doing YouTube with a bunch of buddies, military friends, right? We did YouTube comedy, military humor, right? Making fun of ourselves, essentially.
That's great.
And we go to the bars, man. And I'm always been kind of a very, very paternal person, right? So I'm like making sure everyone doesn't drink too much. I'm making sure no one gets in a fight. And then usually I'm stepping in for people like, hey, back off, you know? So they're like, hey, dude, you're like Rocco the Bouncer. And so after that, man, it's stuck, man. They threw it on social media now, like even on set right now with Mayans, people are talking about like, hey Rocco, hey Vince, what's his damn name? Like, bro, so Rocco's kind of stuck, and now that's kind of what I run with.
So do we have to be in a certain class to be able to call you Rocco?
No, man, it's actually anyone can call me anything. My family still calls me Vince.
What do you prefer?
Oh, anything. It doesn't matter. I answer them all of them. Yeah. So, but Rocco seems to be more the entertainment space name.
What's the worst name somebody's called you?
Ooh.
Yeah, hey, man, there's a lot. I don't know if we can say those.
It might be in a different language.
You could say it starts with an A, it ends with an E. You know what I mean?
I get called them all, bro. I get called them all.
Okay.
All right, military, baseball.
Yeah.
Sounds like, you had some regiment from the very beginning in your schooling, your baseball, you have to be up there early in the morning.
Yeah, man. That's kind of, my father tried to keep me off the streets and keep me from staying, getting into trouble.
Thank you, Dad.
Yeah, he was a street kid. My brother kind of was a street kid.
Okay.
And so I played sports since I was little, and then from there, I kept going into, after baseball, I had no other option, right? It was like, what do I do? I've been good at baseball for so many years. So instead, I had a kid, and I was like, you know what? We got to do something good for her.
Yeah.
Let me get some money for her. So I joined the military, and that's where I started doing it.
That's what's up. So it wasn't a really tough decision for you. It was a life decision for you.
That was it. I needed it. I needed it, man.
You needed it too?
Yeah, I needed it. I needed to get something for my daughter. And so, and that continued to happen. I had more kids, and I just kept kind of
popping them out.
Yeah, man. Like, hey, well, I got money now, so I might as well get another kid.
Before you joined the military, would you consider yourself a good kid or a bad kid?
Oh, man, I think I was like any other kid, mischievous, get myself into trouble here and there, dumb stuff. But at the same time, man, I always had my dad in the back of my head, right? Like yeah, he's probably gonna kick my ass.
Yeah.
So your dad was a street kid, though. So what was his turning point? Was it his children?
Well, same thing. No. Actually, he was an Echo Park kid. He got arrested at 16 and joined the military.
Okay.
So he went to the Marines and got out and construction for a while and became an LA City firefighter. 32 years retired. Pops.
Awesome.
Love him, man. Yeah.
And what's his name?
Carlos Vargas. He's Cutman Carlos, man. So if you watch boxing, you see one of the Cutman with tattoos on his neck and hands. That's my dad,
That's
man.
your dad
Cutman
right
Carlos.
there.
Yeah, bro.
Wow.
Did he have anything to say to you that you went to the Army as opposed to the Marines?
No, he was scared at first because obviously I joined in time of war, man. I mean, in 2003 we were already 2 years into it,
Right.
and so he was nervous about it, but he understood what my reasoning was. So it was
Okay,
all
cool.
good.
So now fast forward, you went to Iraq twice.
I went to Iraq once, to Afghanistan twice.
Welcome home. Thank you very much.
Yeah, for sure.
Man,
Thank God
thank
you're
you.
here with us.
Thank you. It was it was work, you know.
For sure. So then, who gives you the idea to come and be an actor after leaving war?
So I got off military. I went into corrections, like the fastest job I could find to make money, you know. And then from there, I hated it right away. I was like, look, we need to find something different. I applied for the Border Patrol. Got into the Border Patrol, did that for 7 years. Now, while I'm in the Border Patrol, my buddy from Ranger Battalion, from the military, moves to El Paso, where I was living, and all of a sudden he's like, hey man, I'd love for you to jump on one of these videos. You're a funny dude.
No way.
See how it goes. I'm like, yeah man, let's do it. Boom, our first video hit like 4 million views, and we're like, yo, this is kind of the thing, right? You know? And so, you know, they started a t-shirt company that was promoting on the back end of the videos, and boom, that blew up, man. Like one day, no joke, we sold $100,000 worth of shirts in one day. Wow. And I was like, all right, man, I think I need to retire from the Border Patrol. I need to try this social media thing. And so that really gave me the motivation, like, you know what, I really enjoy this world. Let me see what I can do. We're getting messages from veterans all over saying we're inspiring, we're motivating, and that for me was it. Like that for me is what I was like, oh man, I've been looking for something like this my whole life. I just want to serve others in a higher capacity, you know? And so that was it. And so we ended up crowdfunding our own movie. It was like the 4th highest crowdfund in Indiegogo history.
What?
And it was a terrible movie, like absolutely terrible.
Hey, thanks for the money, guys.
Here's what your money looks like.
I mean, just being honest, like we didn't know what we were doing, right? But you know, we ended up making a documentary behind that called Not a War Story, and I think it's a beautiful story of how, like, you know, 6 dudes had a dream and we ended up doing it, you know?
Yeah.
And that was it. I my first day on set, I was like, this is what I'm going to try and do for the rest of my life.
That's awesome, man. Vincent Rocco Vargas in the studio with us, explaining to us how you got into entertainment, leaving from the military, and it started with the
YouTube, man. That's it, man. And then, you know, learning social media before anyone else was doing it, learning how to market on social media before most people were doing it. Then, like, out of nowhere, I'm here in LA filming Dads in Parks, which is like a skit comedy improv with Jamie Kaler. He's an incredible actor, like many years in Hollywood, Navy guy too. So me and him be connected because of the veteran background. And then I hear Mayans MC is still looking for dudes, and I'm like, yo, I'm in LA right now.
Right.
Who do I know who can make a call? And Steve Howie, he works on Shameless. We met through the first movie that we did and became like friends, and he said, let me make a call. And he did, man. And luckily I got tattoos on my neck and my hands. And I showed up and have a little bit of experience in front of the camera. I landed a part in the first pilot, and what's now grown into what I have today.
Nice.
That's amazing, dude.
It's
Congratulations. It's a great story. And then this brings us to this book, man. Is this the first thing you've written?
Yeah, no, this is actually the third. I have 2 kids' books, and that's because, you know, I got a bunch of kids, and I wanted to I thought it'd be cool for them to read one of my books. And one of my books is like, you know, it's about the military dads, and another one's about jobs like that your father might have. So I wrote those, and then I was like, you know what, let me take a crack at a real book. This is called Light the Fuse, man. This book talks about really a lot of the mistakes I've made throughout my life. You know, one of the big things a lot of veterans have trouble with is transitioning out of the military and trying to find comfort in being a civilian again. And what I try and break down this is like, man, my first transition was from a baseball player to a soldier. That was my first transition. But like, we all go through transitions in life, and what I wanted to try and break down is like some of the mistakes I've made mentally, you know, throughout my life, and then how I can improve those, you know. And so pretty much learn from my mistakes and don't go and make the same mistakes. And that's what this book talks about. It talks about acceptance. It talks about death. It talks about, transition. Everything you can kind of think of that you might run into. This is how I dealt with it.
Of course, we want people to buy the book, but can you give us an example of one of the mistakes that you made that, you know, the older you would tell the younger you not to do?
Yeah, I mean, it's a big thing, you know. In the military, you know, I was an Army Ranger, and I identified with that so strong. Like, I believe that I got out of the military and people would shake my hands and say, hey, man, thank you for your service. I can't believe you're an Army Ranger. And the first thing that happened when I come home, my grandmother was like, mijo, how was it being a park ranger? You know, and I was like, yo, grandma, man, like that's messed up.
Damn, bro.
You should see the animals in the park.
You should have just went along with it, bro.
I'm trying to get Boo Boo in them picnic baskets, man.
Hey, yo, Boo Boo.
Hey, boo, boo.
And so it was this crazy thing when she did that. It kind of like I was like, man, she didn't get it, right? And I wasn't offended, my grandmother, but my first job interview at the prison, same exact thing. The dude said, "How is it being a park ranger in the military?" And I'm like, "Yo, dude, no one gets it."
Wow.
You know, and it offended me, and I was kind of like, I identified so much with that. It kind of controlled my life, and I believe that people should just respect me, and that's the worst mentality you can have. It's entitlement. You know what I mean? And I knew that. I ended up falling into some deep, depressions and upset. Like I spent all my 4 years of my life dedicating and willing to sacrifice my life for people not to really get it. But it's not for that, right? I never should have thought like that. Like that mentality is toxic and it turns into worse things. And so eventually just like, man, if people just appreciate the fact that someone served, and that's all it ever should be. I shouldn't look for more. I shouldn't look for the handshake. I shouldn't look for anything other than just someone just saying thank you. It's like, no, you're welcome. I appreciate it.
It snowballs. It snowballs basically.
Right. It turns into something so much worse. And so, that's one of the big things is people have to see what they identify. You know what I mean? And hopefully, me personally now, I try not to identify with anything. Like I'm an actor now, and I'm trying to be the best actor I possibly can. But first and foremost, I'm a father and I'm a husband. You know what I mean? And those to me is what I should pay the most respect to. You know what I mean? And so I talk about all that in the book and everything else in my life.
There's a lot of hats that you've wore thus far, and still continue. You have children. You have your acting career. How do you separate the two?
I feel like I got work ADD, man. That's because I've had so many different jobs. For me, like I said, this book was really for me. Like when I travel, I do a lot of speaking engagements, and one of the big ones I talk about is balance. And that's only because this is my third marriage, bro. I don't need a fourth, right? Like after the first one, I was embarrassed. The second one, I was like, yo, this is really embarrassing now. So I'm on my third, and it all comes down to I committed too much to my career than my family. You know what I mean? And I believe my kids and my wife deserve better than that. It's all about, for me, it's like, I don't want to be the dad that pays bills. I want to be relevant in their lives. I want to be the dad that teaches them how to ride a bike. I want to be the dad that teaches them about the birds and the bees. And so I can't do that if I keep putting my career first. And that being said, my career will take hits because of that, and I'm okay with that. You know what I'm saying? Because like in my deathbed, the people that be holding my hand are the people that I've
your family.
Exactly.
It's your family.
It's your family. It's not
that director,
the producer, director. It's not anything. You know what I mean? So in my head, like I've changed my whole outlook on everything. I've done it. I've tried it, and now I'm like, nah, man. Family first for everything. My kids deserve the best of me, the most of me, and so that's why I said it's probably hard to be my PR here in town because as soon as I get a weekend, I'm flying back home.
Yeah, you're going back home with the family.
Yeah, man.
Speaking of family, we were talking off the air a couple minutes ago, and you were mentioning your son who's 11 years old, and he wants to become a DJ.
Bro, it's DJ Panda, bro. That's his name.
That's his name. DJ Panda.
DJ Panda, bro.
Okay. That's what's up.
Yeah, man. He wants to be. He loves Marshmallow. He loves the whole DJ thing. I bought him a little system, and so I'm watching him. I'm like, yo, I gotta take pictures and send to my boy. He's gonna go crazy, man. But that's DJ Panda, bro.
Definitely, man. Well, if you ever back in LA with him and we're on, bring him by.
I'm bringing him for sure.
Bring him by. Come through.
For sure.
Anything for the park ranger, bro.
Thank you for
No, I'm just messing with you. Vincent Vargas in the studio. Of course, you can see him on Mayans. He's got a book now, Light the Fuse. It's out now. What are some of the things? I mean, obviously there's PTSD and stuff like that the veterans are dealing with. Some of the things that you may have helped them with when you're in these speaking engagements.
I just speak from the heart, speaking the truth. I think guys see me and they probably think my life is perfect. And being able to have relatability with them, say, look, no, I still got to pay my bills. You know what I'm saying? Me and my wife still work on our relationship. I make tons of mistakes all day as a parent and all these things. And so as long as I can be honest with them, say, look, I struggle as much as you do, but I go to counseling, I do what I need to. I think that's the biggest thing I try to look, man, they see me on TV and think sometimes these guys think like I'm filthy rich and they think I'm untouchable, and honestly, I go home at the end of the day and like, okay, I got to pay this bill first before you know what I mean? It's like I'm just so human, but we all are, right? But some people don't show that side of them, right? People on social media show their highlight reel, and I do my best to just show like genuine life, whether the struggle, the goods, the bads, everything. And so when I go to speak with veterans, like my whole goal is just to show how human I am and hey, you can be here and you can be there. You know what I mean? I think a lot of people get out of the military and kind of kind of give themselves tunnel vision, think like, you know what, I could be a cop. Like, yeah, but you could also be an actor. You know, you could also be a writer. You could do anything you really want.
Don't just pigeonhole yourself just because you're from the military. You can only do that.
Right, and we tend to do that, right? Because the people before us, they did that, right? The people before us were cops. People before us were, you know, contractors, whatever the case. And so now you have veterans out there that have running these multi-million-dollar businesses, and they're not highlighted as much, you know. And I would love to bring more light to those guys, because like those are examples too, right? Those are guys that you can follow. Those are guys like, see what they did right.
Right.
There's this weird negative attention towards veterans, PTSD, and suicide and everything else, right? And I get it, right? It's definitely a heavy topic, but in my opinion, it's like when we focus too much on the negative, that's all everyone else pays attention to as well. So now every civilian out there thinks like, oh yeah, veterans have PTSD and they have suicide issues. Like, we all kind of, there's a lot of people that have that, right? Yeah. But we've been labeled with that only because ourselves in mainstream media don't focus on the positive, right? Like, there's successful actors, there's successful businessmen, there's successful everything out there that are veterans as well. And why? How did they do it, right? That's what I wanted to break down. Like, how did they do it? What did they focus on? And really, it's finding a new mission, finding another purpose, and going after it.
Definitely.
All right, man. Thank you so much for coming in this morning.
No, for sure.
You shed a lot of light, but we haven't really got a chance to talk about the Mayans.
Oh, hey, yeah.
I mean, what is your part in the Mayans?
You know,
I'm Gilly. My character is Gilberto Lopez. You know, I'm kind of a muscle dude. I'm an ex-MMA fighter. You see me, you know, I joke around, but I'm also just kind of the quiet one of the group.
How does the Mayans make money?
What do you mean?
How do they make money? I've never watched the series. I've seen bike clubs and stuff like before, but it's kind of similar.
Illicit activities.
You know, we do what we got to do. You know, our big thing right now. You know, if you guys have watched season 1, it's the drug trade.
Okay.
You know, and we work with the cartel.
Wow.
And so we make sure that, you know, everything is good and
moves
everyone's
correctly.
happy. Yeah, and no one messes with the drug trade.
Okay, so now there's somebody that is an actor, but is also somebody who's worked at the border control, border patrol.
Yeah.
You know, there's got to be some kind of mental stuff going on or thought process there.
Definitely. That's a cool thing, right? I think for me, sometimes I look at continuity, saying like, how genuine is it? How much of it is just entertainment?
Right.
There's things in there that I'm like, whoa, that's kind of cool, man, because I've experienced this, right?
Yes.
Or I've been around this, you know, because my time as a Border Patrol agent was special operations as well, and we did a lot of the drug interdictions, right? And so hearing the storylines, it's fun. It's fun to be on the other side of it for me.
So I'm sure you heard of some real, drug trade stories that are happening every day, probably underneath us right now.
All the time.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Is there anything that you could share with us that is like so outrageous you can't believe that this actually happened? This is real from the Border Patrol side.
Oh, bro, it is nonstop. I think,
What are some of the most craziest stories that you've heard?
Not heard, how about experience, right? Like
okay.
there was I was down in Eagle Pass. That's where Eagle Pass, Texas, where I did some of my regular line unit before special operations. And there was a 16-year-old girl who was the biggest drug smuggler in the area.
Because nobody thought she was a smuggler?
No, she's just a pretty little 16-year-old girl who comes across the border to go do whatever, right? Everyone has these border crossing cars. You can come across in as long as you go back during the day. And then she was just transporting dope. And then we finally caught onto it, right? Intel gathered enough information, like, hey, this is the car we need to get. It's actually a girl. We're like, okay, cool. When these dudes found her, right, they pulled up to her, boom, she's gone, right? She started driving back and towards the river, jumps this car into the freaking Rio Grande River.
Oh my God.
Hey, breaks her arm and still swims across.
With one arm.
16-year-old girl, bro. Like my daughter is 16 now and she can barely, she breaks a nail and freaks out. You know what I mean? And so I was like, yo, this is crazy. So like 4 weeks later, we're getting intel that she's running again. We're like, yo, she's back doing shit. So I'm over there hiding out, doing my thing, and all of a sudden I see a vehicle loading up. I don't know it's her. I just know people are loading up, so I'm making the call, like, yo, we gotta go to the vehicle in this area, blah, 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 blah. And my partner starts coming in there. I get my stuff suited up, because I'm like hiding in the bushes. I'm doing all the military weird stuff, And all of a sudden I'm packing myself, like, here we go, we're about to go get him. And I start running, and I see the vehicle pass me up, boom, and I'm like, there you go, coming up the street. Boom, they go head to head with my buddy, right? And then they back up, boom, hit him again. And I'm like, this is serious, right? Wow. Luckily, man, by this time, I'm in the vehicle, I'm in my full tactical setup, and I'm kind of pointing my rifle towards him, thinking like, this is a real deal. We're about to go down. It's about to go down.
Yeah.
So I start kind of pieing off, which means like I'm moving my body to the side so I don't. If I had to take a shot, I didn't want it to go through and hit my partner, so I'm making a good angle.
Yeah.
As I'm doing it, I think they notice like I'm suited up. Like I look like a a dude from a movie right now, you know? And so they're like, yo, boom. They jumped out the vehicle. They rolled out. The vehicle goes into a ditch. We end up arresting them. Yes, one of them is a 16-year-old girl, dude.
Damn, with the broken arm.
What was her street name?
Like Akarocha?
No, yeah, I'm saying, they called her something like you know, like the Black Widow or something like that. Like she had a serious name.
Yeah, you got to have it. If you're running drugs, you got to have a serious name.
Yeah. And so
She was
like,
hardcore.
I mean, that's the kind of stuff you have. Imagine, man, it's supply and demand. Obviously, there's a huge demand for drugs out here, and that's what keeps the whole trade going.
Right.
And when it comes to that, it's like, look, if I can offer you a lot of money, there's people that take that opportunity, right? And I'm not saying it's good and bad, and I don't judge it, man. I just do my part on the side of law enforcement. They do their thing. It is what it is. Just like in prison, as a corrections officer, like, look, you do your job, I do mine.
Yeah.
You want to break the rules, I'm going to do my thing. And it is what it is, man. I don't judge nobody for the thing. I just want to try and keep the places safe, you know what I'm saying?
I appreciate that. So, you know, off but on topic, how is this border thing in this wall going to be fixed, or what is going to happen?
Or can it be fixed?
Yeah, it's an interesting thing, man. You know, so like a lot of the border policies have been in place way before Trump, right? And people for some reason didn't want to understand that. Like, fact is, a border patrol can only do what's in the policies and what is given. And so the policies need to be changed. That's firsthand.
First and foremost.
They need to be. You know, it takes even some from the UK. It can take somewhere around 12 years to become naturalized.
Wow.
12 years. And at any time in that 12 years, if they got a DUI, nope,
Gone.
no, thank you.
Yeah.
And that's kind of an unfair, right? That route to being a citizen is tough. And so obviously things need to be worked on. But I think a big thing we can do is educate. If we can educate anyone from Mexico, from South America, and explain to them, here's the policies and how it works, they would know that if they're using a drug trafficking organization to help them smuggle them across, there's a big chance they're going to be screwed over.
Yeah.
And it sucks, right? It sucks. They're asking like, hey, it's $2,000 to do this. They pay their money, and then eventually they're pushed this way, dope goes this way, they get caught, the dope goes free. Right? And so there's a lot of that happening as well.
Yeah.
And people don't understand that. And so a lot of manipulation happens. It's just trying to collect the money from people that are coming all the way down from, you know, Honduras. You know what I mean? Like, anyone that comes across the border, it's about 10% are Mexican. The rest is other than Mexican.
Yeah.
It means everyone else, you know? And a lot of them don't know that there's ways of doing it, right? You can apply for now, it's hard as heck, yes, but applying for visas and all these other things, you know, I think we need to educate on how to do it the right way.
So I think, you know, we have a lot of people here in America that live here and they have family down south.
Yeah.
They should be responsible for telling them, let me get you guys the information.
Yeah.
Let me educate you guys on it.
Yeah, because here, if they come illegally and get caught, well, then they can't come back again for like 5 years legally.
Right.
And then the second time, it's even longer. And so it's like, look, if you really want to do it, there's a process, and we got to educate that process. And that process is hard, definitely. And that's something that needs to be fixed. But to me, is like, man, I would just try and educate everyone on like, here's the process and how to do it the right way. So then there is an opportunity for actually becoming a citizen. Okay. You know, it's tough, man. It's a whole look, my mother's Mexican, right? You know, and so my father's Puerto Rican, so he's just an angry man. But my mom, she has a heart for that, and so do I. You know, me working as a border patrol agent, being Hispanic, it didn't go past me. I saw it and I'm like, man, I get it.
Yeah.
I know what my family did. You know what I'm saying? So it's always this tough position to be in, being Latino and working on the border. But there's also so many other things you're protecting our country from, not just illegal immigration, but I'm talking like drugs. I'm talking potential terrorists. So things like that. And so it's this interesting. Like I said, a wall. What does a wall do? I mean, it really just funnels the traffic into an area where there's more border patrol agents. So I understand, but I don't think a wall across the whole thing, border makes sense. I think the hard places to work, the border makes sense. Maybe a wall makes sense, but other things like there's technology that can help us and my biggest fear is just like a lot of the drugs and other stuff that comes across the border is pretty scary. The stuff that doesn't get talked about on mainstream media.
Yeah. For sure, man.
Thanks for shedding some light for us, man.
Oh, for sure.
You gave us a lot of insight. Talk to us about your book, of course, The Mayans. You're a very busy man. You got children. Congratulations, by the way, coming from San Fernando Valley. And
818, baby.
Yes, it's a beautiful thing. Before we let you go, if you could offer some veterans that are having an issue, having a tough time, is there anywhere you might be able to send them, or a phone number or anything like that to encourage them?
Oh man, I mean, I don't off the top of my head, I don't, but I would say this: you guys can reach out to me at any time. I answer every single message, and I can direct traffic towards anywhere. So if you're having problems, if you're looking for counseling, I have resources for that. I can send you your way, any city, anywhere. I have groups. We have all kinds of stuff out there for veterans, but all you got to do is reach out, man. Make that call, make that connection. Hit me up on social media. Hit me up anywhere, and I promise you, I will answer the message.
What's that social media one more time?
That's Vincent.Rocco.Vargas. Vincent.Rocco.Vargas. That's on Instagram. Hit me up.
And if you need a bodyguard, Rocco.
I'll also get paid to be a bodyguard. Let me know.
Hey, what about that YouTube? What is that called? So people can go back and watch that.
Oh man, but it's MBest11X. MBest11X. That's me, my boy Matt Best, and Jared Taylor. And we just had a good old time with that, man.
I got to go back and watch that, man. I'm gonna buy me a T-shirt.
You gotta check it out, man.
I want to see that bad movie.
Oh, it is. Hey, man, I'll bring them. I'll bring some. I got some. Man. I got tons of them, bro. They didn't sell.
Vincent Vargas, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate
Thank you for coming through. Light the Fuse. Books out.
Radio how it's supposed to be heard. It's the Baka Boyz show.
What's going on? This is Drip.
Every day.